Hi, and welcome to the Fresh Performing Arts Project. My name is Chantal, and today I am with this amazing circus artist, beautiful friend of mine, and the sexiest redhead there is, Aleisha. Hello.
Hello, how are you going?
Good. I'm very pleasantly surprised by your beautiful, vibrant red hair during lockdown.
Well, like I said to you, I washed it especially.
Oh, fantastic. You know, to wash it once every 2 weeks, that's a good thing these days.
Yeah.
Right? So you are a circus artist. That's how we know each other.
Yes.
But it didn't start that way. What was your entry into the arts?
So I'm probably like your classic sort of story of started dancing when I was 4 years old, wanted to go to dancing, and I was lucky enough to have parents that sent me to dance classes. So yeah, I did that all the way up through high school, and then when I finished high school, I decided I wanted to give it a shot to see if I could do it professionally. And I moved over to Sydney, and I went to performing arts school over there for a year, and then yeah, I started working after that, mostly doing cruise ships as a dancer. And then I came back to Australia, and I decided I would give Melbourne a go. And yeah, Melbourne was where I got into circus. I saw someone performing circus at Red Benny's. They were doing an aerial act. Now I know it's like the iconic sort of little Melbourne venue. And yeah, when I saw someone doing silks, I was completely like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to do that. How do you do that? And I started doing classes at Circus Oz. And then it kind of just took off from there. Like, there was no way, I guess, it could just be a hobby. It was an obsession straight away, like, oh, I want to perform this, I want to do this sort of thing. So yeah.
Slightly. So you're obviously from New Zealand.
Yes.
What made you do your course in Sydney and not in New Zealand?
Well, I don't know, maybe this will sound a little bit bad, but you know, Australia, bigger, not necessarily better, but I just mean, one of the reasons actually now I can think of this properly, sorry, is I did do a workshop when I was leaving high school, and one of the trainers there, she said, oh, if you know you want to work in Australia, it's better to go to school over there, because then you create your network and you make your network and you're already set up there. And I guess I've always been a bit of a person who loves traveling and things like that, and it just seemed like, oh yeah, I want to go, you know, somewhere new, somewhere different, sort of thing. But I did consider full-time schools and things in New Zealand, but when I auditioned for 2 places in Melbourne and 1 place in Sydney, and then yeah, the one in Sydney, ED5 International, was the one that kind of felt like the best fit for me. So I went there. Yeah,
and you know, and that's a really good point anyways about setting up your networks. One of the things we talk about with young performers is you don't necessarily need to go to a full-time school. You can just go ahead and take a whole heap of pro classes. That's actually putting you in front of more choreographers, more directors, because you're going around to different places, and so setting up your network where you want to work is a really good point. I think that's a very viable reason to move countries.
I'm like, why did I go there? And then I was like, right. I was also in Christchurch in the South Island, which I think had even going on then, say, like, okay, maybe if I'd grown up in Wellington or Auckland or something like that are more arts, you know, there's more guidance on for the arts there, maybe I would have stayed in New Zealand. I don't know.
Sure. That's where your path took you. So how hard was the transition from being a dancer to circus?
Okay, so the biggest shock was having to learn having to get
upper body. That's why I don't do aerial.
I think, and that was the real it took a lot of patience and a lot of commitment and determination to kind of not get down about that straight away, because I think, you know, when you're a dancer, you kind of go, oh, I'm a dancer, I'm fit, and then I was like trying to climb the silk, like I can put my toes, but I can't like get up there. And I guess specifically as well for aerial, apart from the strength, is the sort of fear factor of it too. So having to learn how to manage your fear and things like that when you're so high up in the air and you're doing things like drops, and then obviously like training that and then moving into a performance area where there's more pressure, there's like a shorter time frame, there's like light shining up in your eyes, lights in the air and you kind of need to see what you're doing. So I guess, but those are also the things that I really loved about it and got me really addicted to it, was this sort of adrenaline aspect of aerial with the spinning and the drops and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was a huge challenge, but also something that I really wanted to get.
Totally. And so can you remember your first paid job as an aerialist?
Yes, I can. I remember being so excited because it was when Red Beanies switched over into a nightclub. So I performed at Red Beanies as a part of another group, and then when they did the switch over, they were still kind of booking the entertainment from Red Beanies into Lux. So it was my very first time doing sort of like an aerial slot in a club setting, so that was exciting. But probably what was more exciting was the first time I actually performed a aerial act. So that was for a show curated by Zelia Rose and the other Mr. Burlesque at the time, and what was it called? I can't remember. Anyways, it was my first time making it. I bought a brand new hoop for it, and like only apparatus, got a costume made, got paid, got to perform my own act, and it was amazing. It was very exciting.
Totally. So obviously within our industry, there's lots of different types of opportunities to perform. They obviously come with different pay packets and different consistencies and different. So, I mean, you've got your cruise ships, you've got your corporates, festivals, nightclub gigs, little cabarets, things like that. Do you have something that is kind of your favorite, or is?
That's a tricky question because they all kind of have their own little special thing about them. You know what I mean? Like I performed at little festivals and they just have such a beautiful, intimate sort of vibe with them. But then, you know, you go to a cruise ship and you have pyro and huge stage lights and this massive audience. And
you're the star.
You're the star of the show. And, you know, like that feels really amazing as well. So I guess the answer to that is, maybe I love to have a mix of these things. Like I want to be in a theatre, just how they smell. I think it just takes me back to like my ballet dancing days and things like that.
Totally.
But you want a mix of everything. And
then, I mean, I'm going to go to an experience we've had together about navigating some tough times. One of our jobs that we did together, I won't say what it was for, but you were doing this amazing aerial act and you were above a concrete ground. You had no mats or anything like that, and we were able to obtain, what do you call it when it goes up and down?
A motor.
A motor. You got a motor for your aerial, which I'd never seen you use before, and I was like, oh, hey, we can get you a motor. You're like, awesome.
I was like, finally.
Rehearsal time in. But the band decided that it was more important that their sound check went for an hour and a half than your check, which is you could kill yourself and they might hit a bum note or not be able to hear themselves well. So how do you deal, like obviously you've got people like I was there, Benj was there, we were there kind of supporting you in that, but how do you then ground yourself enough to push through a technical glitch like that where you still, you need your rehearsal but you're running out of time, and so how do you hold yourself together, or what do you do to get through that kind of thing?
I mean, first of all, it always really helps when you have an amazing team like yourself and Benji, who are always like so great to work with, that you are always so like checking in and communicating and accommodating what you can. So, and you're very professional. So, so Chantal's on the motor anyway. She's the one who ends up having to press the button for me. And I was like, I know she's going to nail it. Like,
that's actually, I forgot that I was the one pressing the button. Okay.
And like you would be the person that I would want most to be doing that, not a random tech, to be honest.
So taking a bit of control in that respect as well. Then you took a bit of control of the situation.
And I mean, I guess one of the first things I try to do is, I can be a bit easygoing or, you know, don't want to rock the boat sometimes. So when I get put in a situation where I do feel a bit more stressed or under pressure, I have to say to myself, okay, Aleisha, now it's time for you to be vocal. You have to speak up. You have to say your needs. You need to say, this needs to happen, or I need this, because the only person who's going to be up there is you, and it's your life at the end of the day. And I think, yeah, especially with aerial, I really had to learn to do that at gigs that I went to. And then just trusting yourself. Again, with aerial, you know, you have to maintain a certain level of strength. So you know, you're always practicing. I run my routines all the time. If I have a gig, I'm not ever doing things usually that it's just, oh, I hope that works out, or that's on the fly. Like, it gets practiced, it gets rehearsed. If I can be in a costume practicing at home, I will.
Yeah.
So that when I show up to the gig, I know that I've done the most that I can do for my safety and to, you know, deliver the best performance that I can. Yeah.
So preparation.
And just taking moments to yourself. Yeah, preparation. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like, it's not going to be my fault if something goes wrong. Sometimes it is, but
very,
you know,
very
like,
rarely.
I don't want to be the person who, you know, wasn't prepared and showed up, and then that's why something's happened.
Well, you know what? Like, I mean, that's for your safety, but it's also to be rehired.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So you're obviously one of our favorite aerial artists, and that's why when I thought circus, I thought I need to talk to Aleisha. But yeah, I mean, you get being somebody who hires. We do mainly corporates, as you know, and so with corporate entertainment, there's a really short lead-in time. Our tech is like, you've got 20 minutes, go. Actually, the band took a bit longer. You got 15 now, and you have to be off. And that's how we have to kind of roll. So we have we call it the dream team. So all the family are the two words that we call. So we go, all right, we want to stay within the family. And for us, family means, you know, reliable, awesome at what they do, are well prepared, you know, take responsibility. And so all of these things that you're talking about for your safety actually work in with just being rehired as well.
Yes, exactly. And to have your own personal best. Like, I don't think any artist ever wants to go out there and look bad or not do their best performance that they can. You know, we work so hard on our craft our whole lives. Yeah. And, you know, it's a very competitive industry as well, as you know. So
yeah, totally.
There is that pressure to be at the top of your game and, not having an off day and things like that for every gig you show up to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You have to always have a smile on your face. I want to go to an amazing, you were saying that you love to travel and everything, and an adventure you had. You went to Germany and Austria. So tell me about that. Tell me about how you were able to find a community there, and how you were able to find you're talking about, you know, your network when you came to Australia. You went to a whole nother country. You ended up getting work. So how did you do that?
Well, okay, so when I went over there, I did manage to get some work. Like everywhere, it takes a really long time to build your community, and it is a lot of hard work. And especially in Germany, and where I was Berlin, you know, it was kind of quite a transient place with a lot of people coming and going, full of artists, maybe not heaps of work there. Like, a lot of the artists were traveling outside of Berlin for their work. It was a tricky time, to be honest, to being in there and trying to build community and things like that. One thing I did try to do was to go to, actually continue traveling. So I went to a lot of the aerial festivals that they had over here. We could go train and play in Barcelona with the teacher once, and basically just tried to put myself out there at training centers and things, meeting people, talking to people, and I mean, I wanted to make friends anyways.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of how it always happened for me anyways. It was not so much necessarily showing up to an audition and then just getting the gig cold. It was more meeting people and then them getting to know you and kind of going, oh yeah, I could work with this person, or I like what you do, and that sort of thing. Although the gig in Austria was actually just a random audition that I showed up to and I didn't know them.
What was the gig in Austria?
So it was for the Salzburg Festspiele. So it was for this, I think it's the biggest opera festival in the world. And so that was like a really incredible experience for me, actually. It was one of the most fun contracts I've ever done, because they put us in Salzburg for a month to rehearse, except for, you know, we did have to do a little bit of rehearsing, but it wasn't actually a heavy workload. And then they just gave us keys to this circus tent, like this training center, and I had a bike, put us up in accommodation. I just got to like ride on my bike along the river to the circus tent every day and train as much as I wanted to. And then there was kind of this light rehearsal schedule, and we were with a cast of about 16 circus performers, and they were all amazing. So yeah, there was a lot of time off for going swimming in lakes and seeing the nature in this picturesque little town, and I just like loved that. And yeah, being a part of the production was massive, because it was like over 2 hours long. It was the Magic Flute. And yeah, like I think my cool time was showing up, and the show had already started, and there was someone doing my makeup for me. I didn't even have to do my makeup. He had like Swarovski costumes and things. It was just like a really fun, different experience for me. And it was also the highest I've ever had to be on an aerial hoop. Like so high that they wanted us in harnesses, but then the director actually was like, no, I don't want that look. So that was like, yeah, definitely a mind game of, wow,
okay.
Yeah, so
how do you get over the fear of that, like knowing that I'm high enough that a harness is probably safer, but I'm, for the artistic reason, I'm not in a harness. So I mean, some people might just put their foot down and say, no, for safety reasons, I'm not willing to do this, which is fine too. But you chose not to do that. So what was your thought process?
Well, I don't know if there was really a choice. It was probably more like, this is what we want for the show. So like, if you're not cool with that, then
well, that's a choice though, still, isn't it? I say no and I lose my job.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So basically what they did is they put us we each had a turn first going up very high in the hoop in a harness first for us to get used to it, and then they lowered us all the way back down, and then they kind of actually, so there were 5 of us, and they kind of like, who's the most comfortable up here, because you're going to have to sit up there the longest, because the way it was staged was that you come on stage, one girl would go up, and then we just had to hang out at the very top of the theatre, next one up, next one up. We all just had to sit up there and wait until we all came down together. So they kind of put us in order of who was the most comfortable sitting up there the longest. So I think I was the first or the second one on stage. I was like, okay, here we go. And it was actually just that whole thing of grounding yourself, getting used to the music. Like, I'm quite a musical person, so you go, oh, this is the cue when I go up, and then you can kind of count on with the music, and you're like, oh yeah, it's coming to an end. You know, you look around down at the tiny little people, and you just think, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, you just have to kind of, get your mind set in the...
totally.
But I mean, I love this sort of stuff though. Like, it can be scary, but you're like, oh, I did that. I'm proud of myself. I did that. I didn't know if I'd ever do that, but I've done it, you know.
Yeah, amazing. That's super cool. Pick it off the list. Yeah, amazing. Oh, cool. And so obviously right now it's a pretty tough time for artists everywhere. And I think, you know, we see a lot of celebrities, I guess, who are still able to get their work out there because they have a name, and you know, they can work from home and still get paid and all this kind of stuff. And there's these middle professionals, I would call them. So people who their full-time job is performing, but it's a hustle. That, you know, they're having to take work wherever they can get it and all that kind of stuff. And right now there is no work to take. So how, first of all, like, how are you mentally coping and being able to stay sane, COVID sane? So what are you doing to just to keep yourself in a place of being able to put one foot in front of the other right now?
I guess I'm trying to appreciate this time in a way of, okay, being a freelancer, you're always kind of running around like a chicken with its head cut off, you know, this gig, preparing for this, preparing for that. So kind of trying to garner a bit of an appreciation for, okay, you have time now to stop, pour some time into other things. Like I've been going for walks in the park a lot. I never used to really do that or have the time for that. So trying to appreciate the extra time, because I kind of realized maybe I will never have this again in my life. I kind of hope not, because I'm one of those people who likes to be busy. So not being busy is quite hard for me. But I'm also very lucky where I'm living in a space where I can still train. So I'm very, very lucky. So I'm trying to keep myself busy by keeping up my aerial, keeping up my strength as much as I can. It's a lot harder at the moment because mentally I feel like I can't always be there, because I think, what's the point? Why am I doing this? When's my next gig? Definitely not this year, kind of thing. So sometimes it can feel a bit hard training for nothing. But it's also kind of given me time to, okay, so most of the work that I get booked for is usually doing aerial hoop or aerial stilts. So one thing I've always wanted to spend a lot more time on was dance trapeze, and this has given me a chance to do that because I don't have any gigs that I need to be preparing for on the hoop or silts. And same for, I've started learning a ground act, which is rehired. So I've been able to pour a bit of time into that. So I mean, I haven't really deviated too far away from circus goals, but I guess I'm obsessed with it, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's brilliant. I think what we can learn from you there is that, I mean, I feel the same way at the moment. It's like, what's the point of doing XYZ when there's nothing horizon to work for? But to potentially say learn a new skill, that's a really great time to do that, because when we had time to pour our time and energy into something brand new that, so I think
we're doing a Pilates course, actually. I should have said that. That's the other thing that I'm kind of taking some time to do that's still kind of related, but it's, more down the teacher pathway, which I also really love I'm kind of enjoying learning. Your whole life you're a mover and you're using your body, and I'm kind of really enjoying learning the anatomy aspect of that, and this is what I'm using when I do this, and this is kind of like, I'm actually really getting the time now to understand all that and get that knowledge and information, because there is so much time right now.
Totally. And you're using your brain muscle.
Exactly.
Amazing. So are you also teaching any classes via Zoom or anything that other people can join in?
Yes, so I'm only teaching one class a week at the moment, but I'm teaching for bottoms up dance. So that's pole dancing and burlesque school. And I'm teaching a stretch class, which is focused around getting your splits. So if you have your ISO goals to get your splits, that's on Saturdays at 10 o'clock.
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely. We'll look it up. So it's bottoms up dance. Okay. Fantastic. So everyone have a look at that if you want to stretch with Aleisha. Fantastic. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I know that, and I'm sure a lot of people are feeling this as well, we're a bit sick to death of Zooming, and we're a bit sick to death of looking at a computer screen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you in real life and giving you a big fat
I'm really looking forward to seeing you in real life too. Gig. I want to see you at a gig for real life. We have a motor again and we're doing aerial hoop and you're behind
absolutely. I will be there, and I won't be fat and pregnant this time, that was stressful.
Stop you. Thank you for having me. It's been really nice to
absolutely
chat with you.
My pleasure, honey. We'll hopefully see you soon.
Yay.
Okay. Bye.